Hey, it's Wes Barefoot with Path to Freedom, and thanks for tuning into this next video in my franchising FAQ series. Today I want to talk about another common misconception I run into, and that's I talk to a lot of people that think they could never afford to invest in a franchise. And if you've been following this series, you've already heard me talk about the fact that there are many great franchise opportunities outside of the food sector. So while yes, it may be very expensive to invest in a food franchise and some other franchises for that matter, there are also some very affordable franchise opportunities out there. In fact, there is a wide array of investment thresholds when it comes to great franchise opportunities, and that's what I want to unpack in this video today. The fact of the matter, though, is for any legitimate franchise business, there will be an initial investment. There's no such thing as a free lunch, right? So while there will be an initial investment, it will not always be as expensive as what I find a lot of people initially think. Think of it as a spectrum, right? So on one end of the spectrum, you have what I would think of as low-cost franchise opportunities, and then on the high end of that spectrum, you have much more expensive franchise opportunities. Think food, think anything with large retail locations, and those definitely can, approach or in some cases even exceed seven figures. But in an effort to kind of simplify this, I want to break it down into four different categories of franchise businesses that one could invest into, and then give you an idea of kind of what the initial investment range might look like for those different categories. So the first would be owner-operator franchises. These franchise models are not typically designed to be as scalable, but can be a great opportunity for someone that's looking to fire their boss and work for themselves. And many of these franchise opportunities that fall into this category provide great earning opportunity and a lot more freedom and control of your schedule and so forth. So, you can actually get into an owner-operator type franchise for, in many cases, under $100,000 all in initial investment. The next category would be service-based franchises. So these are franchise business models that usually are designed to be more scalable, where a big part of the franchise owner's role is going to be building out a team and delegating to that team. And then ultimately, the franchise owner's goal is to spend the majority of their time working on the business, not in the business. And because these service-based franchises in many cases do not have real estate requirements, or if they do, they're very minimal, the investment range can be anywhere from just under $100,000 up to around $200,000 as kind of a general ballpark. Some amazing franchise opportunities in that category. The third category is going to be lighter retail. So, this would be a franchise business that requires real estate, but it's not anything, too extravagant. Think fitness franchises, think health and wellness, beauty, some of these types of businesses that fall within this category. And, a realistic idea is around $250 up to, maybe $450, $500,000 all in initial investment to get into a light retail type franchise. And then of course on the other end of the spectrum, we do have the heavier retail businesses. So this is where you can think food, and there's other franchises of course that would fall into this category, and that's where you do start seeing initial investment ranges approaching or even exceeding seven figures. But again, so many different options out there, and in many cases there are great opportunities that are much more affordable than what I find most people really realize. So that's what I wanted to kind of unpack in this episode. It should be noted, though, that any specific franchise business that one may be looking at is legally required to give you a range that's specific to their business that, historically shows what it has cost other franchisees from an investment standpoint to get into that franchise and to get it up and running. So while I'm giving some very general kind of ranges here, keep in mind that if you're investing in a particular franchise, you should be getting educated by the franchisor on what their specific investment typically looks like. And then of course you want to make sure you're talking to other franchisees in that business and validating with them everything you're hearing from the franchisor. So this is meant to be very general in nature and just to hopefully give people a better understanding of what types of franchise businesses are out there and how much capital may be needed to get into a great franchise business. So I hope this was helpful. Make sure to tune into my next video where I'm going to be talking a little more in detail about what initial investment ranges cover and also common ways in which people fund their franchise investments. Thanks for tuning in.